back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Presented by the Choctaw Casino and Resort in Durant. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and Bob.
All right, we are back. Maybe just a little too ominous for Kansas coming up with this open. It sounds good when it's Bedlam or Red River Rivalry or something. Welcome to the program. We got a lot of stuff for you today. We have our first field interview, as I had a chance to go down and talk to Trejan and Jack Bridges during his Under Armour All-American ceremony the other day, and we'll play you the interview throughout. But first off, welcome in Josh McQuistion, Eddie Radosevich, Bob Prisbillo, who are in for a long day's basketball signing day is today, as well as baseball. Other sports, rowing probably is in there too. You're listening to the Choctaw Casino and Resort Unofficial 40. I want to remind you guys, over in Durant, they got this little thing called the Choctaw Casino. It is fantastic. It is more than little. I want you guys to go and check it out. Give them a try because I've been over there. It's a fantastic casino, fantastic hotel, fantastic restaurants and entertainment, great venue to watch concerts. I know on the SeatGeek app, I keep getting emails from them about the Chris Stapleton concert. I know it's sold out, but you can get seats on the secondhand market. He's playing 2 sold-out shows over there getting ready to come up. Yeah, the steakhouse over there is fantastic. The buffet is outstanding. A lot of great games. They got the dice. They got the craps tables, which I love, which I know a little bit about. I tried to learn more about, and it just got confusing. And I tried to come up with a system. I'm still working on it. So Choctaw Casino in Durant, go check them out. They make this podcast possible. All right. Really, it's come down to questions about the defense, questions about the defensive coordinator. And let's just start it off with Lincoln Riley's comments for his press conference Monday. Here's Mr. Al Ashback with the first question.
Lincoln, national signing date's a little bit more than a month away. Do you want to have your new defensive coordinator here by then, and is it important for the recruits to know who it's going to be?
We'll see how that all plays out. I haven't made any decisions on what we're going to do there or not. My focus was, after we made the change, that we were going to get through this back half of the season and see where we're at. I don't know what we'll do. I wouldn't commit that we're going to bring in anybody different right now or not. It's 1 week at a time and trying to win a championship right now.
It's
If I was suicidal, I would have just jumped off the 3rd story of the stadium after that question.
It only got worse after that. More awkward.
We've got it.
More.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to go straight into it before we just rail on all this stuff? Barry Tramel basically gave Lincoln a good grilling. If you can ask an accusatory question, Tramel came pretty close. He didn't, but he came pretty close.
If you were close to Social Security, drawing Social Security, you probably asked a question on Monday.
Here is the first part of Tramel's question and Lincoln's response. It did not go particularly well.
Yeah, Lincoln, you said you're close, but it sure seems like, unless you're playing Kansas State or TCU, the 2 worst offenses in the league, the defense is pretty much in disarray. Do you just need a new culture, totally, just new schemes, new players, new coaches, new everything, just sort of start over on defense in the offseason? I'm not talking about now, but in the offseason.
I'd say it's got the same answer I had before. I don't know. Being 9-1's disarray, then that's, we'll define it what it is. Our defense has had a hand in winning all the 9 games that we've had this year. Are there areas that we need to improve? Yes, I'm not looking the other way, but at the same time, we got a team that's very capable of winning a championship right now. So our focus right now is getting better and putting ourselves in position to do that, which we've done up to this point this season.
And you know what? Barry Tramel was not satisfied with that answer, as nobody was. So he doubled down and threw a little bit more shade at Lincoln Riley.
One of the problems is, every defense in the Big 12 struggles because of the offense, but up until the recent past, you guys were not really a great defense compared to nationally. Now you're dropping to the bottom of the Big 12 in terms of numbers and how often you stop the other team. Is that a concern that, even just going against Big 12 standards, you're falling defensively?
There's a lot of factors that go into that. You know, by Big 12 standards, we're winning a bunch of games, so I know that. So you could put all those stats every which way you want. Go look up the Big 12 records in the last 4 years of teams and, tell me which one you would rather be.
Look, for everything that Lincoln does forward thinking, they're not. And look, he's got a job to do, whatever it is he's trying to do. There's obviously a message he's trying to keep for his team or his coaches or whatever. But to ignore the fact that this is hurting you in terms of your ultimate goal, which is winning a national championship, I think people have a hard time kind of getting past that. Like that you won't admit, yes, this is really bad. This is hurting us as a program.
They're in denial. And they've been in denial.
Are they in denial,
Yeah,
or
they're in
are
denial.
they just putting on a public face?
They're in denial.
You think Lincoln Riley doesn't know that his defense stinks?
Yeah, I do. But they're in denial. They don't want to accept it.
Or they just don't want to say it publicly?
Well, they're pussies if they don't want to say it publicly.
Yeah,
That's what people do. That's coach speak, Eddie.
Well, the answers from Curtis Bolton, Parnell Motley last night didn't inspire any confidence either, because it's still the same. Oh, we're one play away. It's just the little things. We're so close. It just feels like we've been hearing that for the last 2-3 seasons.
Is there any chance that we are being overreaction people? Because I think we all felt like OU was going to drop in the rankings after that performance.
Why were they going to fall?
I thought that they might. I
Why?
mean, that West Virginia might pass them up, that Washington State could pass them up, because their defense is terrible. And that we know that committee places a lot of value on defense.
I never thought they were going to fall.
Well, I thought that they were going to drop. Just knowing the committee, that they're old farts and curmudgeon-y. I mean, one thing to think about, I don't know, Joe C. being on that committee probably helps OU, because if he wasn't there, maybe they do drop him. But
I
with
mean,
him in
how
the
much
room,
does it really? He can't be in the room though.
well,
when
what
they
I'm
talk
saying,
about
he
OU.
still has to come back in the room at some point.
Well, then
You can't eat that bacon all day that George Schroeder was writing about.
I saw the article today that George wrote. I haven't had a chance to read it, but if that's the case, then we need to put an end to the committee. If they're making decisions based on being intimidated by another person that's in the
It's
room,
human nature. I mean, these are all administrators that administrate, and they all want to get along.
this is the worst idea of all time.
College football playoff?
Yes.
It's worked, though, has it not? Has it not given us the best 4 teams? Have we ever finished this thing since it started and said, they got it all wrong, somebody else should have been in there, somebody else could have won it?
The TCU and Baylor year.
Yeah. Ohio State got screwed. I mean, Ohio State got in didn't get in last year.
Right. Because they got beat by OU.
They probably
OU got in instead of them.
maybe they should have got it in front of OU.
No,
Now
they
you're just
shouldn't
trying
have.
to upset people.
They shouldn't have. You're just looking for an argument that's not there, I think. Look, it's everybody. I mean, the AP and the coaches poll, everybody is pretty much in line. I mean, it's the same. It's the same ranking. I mean,
that's what happens.
it's just you have 4 teams.
Once the playoff ranking comes out, all the polls shift toward what the playoff ranking said.
Yeah, that does happen.
Well, they need to do away with rankings.
I mean, it's not like Iowa State was ever ranked until, college football playoff has them as a number 24.
They should definitely do away with polls at least.
Well, look,
I'm with Eddie. What point do those serve after the playoff rankings are out?
that's tradition. They've been around
it
forever.
massages writers.
Writers don't want to do those. I wouldn't want to do a top 25 poll.
Exactly. Then
It's
do away with it.
It's a pain in the ass.
Do away with it then.
If they asked me, I would say no. I don't want to rank the
We got
top
people
25
voting like
teams.
dumbasses anyways.
Well, the problem is you get like columnists that want to vote and make some crazy vote so they can write a column about why justifying their
I
hot
think all
take.
voting should be put to an end.
Yeah, like all democracy and everything.
Yes.
Just somebody decides what's best for you.
Maybe. Like a king and a queen. England's got it all right.
Eddie Vader.
Okay, so tell me, how are the college football teams for the championship going to be selected then?
By a playoff.
64?
You make the playoffs. No, let's do 16.
Well, you still have to have people decide what 16 teams are going to be.
Not if you put
and how they're going to be ranked.
I don't know, your Power 5 champions. It's been debated before.
You'd have to shift the entire landscape of college football.
Well, I don't think that college football players should have to go to class either, so we should do away with the student athlete. The student athlete
maybe just
tag
all
as well.
online courses or something.
So you're just embracing the NCAA is like a minor league football situation.
Whatever puts
Eddie is in a very burn the world down mood
whatever
today.
puts administrators in a bad spot. Like, I want to see people get fired.
They're playing 15 games anyway if you win if you play for the national championship. It's not the days like when they just play 11. They're playing
what are the
15.
other 100 and what? Is it 129 now?
Yes.
So what are the other 100? Let me see if I can figure this out. 113 teams do.
Play for like 20th place because that's what they're doing already.
No, but I mean, over 4 weeks, they're going to have to play. They're going to have to do something. If you only play like 10 games and then go straight to the playoffs.
Or you just do away with the programs. Like Prairie View A&M doesn't need a football program.
They're not Division I.
They don't need a football program.
You get rid of the bowl week practices. Just keep it going.
Kansas doesn't need a football program. It's running on a basketball. It's a basketball school.
That would really hurt the Big 12.
Oh, the Big 12 wouldn't be around.
It's just one big super conference?
Maybe.
Now, if you did that, you wouldn't need playoffs. Your playoff would be you have four leagues, and the winner of each league moves on to the national playoffs.
Need more than 4.
Well, no, you wouldn't. You'd have 4 champions. Like, they all play each other in like a round robin.
No, we would need, though. We're going to need more than 4 in the playoff.
Well, you got the SEC, the Big Ten.
This isn't that we're not going to half-ass it like 6A football.
Like the ACC, Pac-12, and
the playoffs.
Big 12 can all
So
make
ridiculous.
2 conferences.
It's absolutely obnoxious that 6A's in the semifinals this week. You win 3 games, you're a state champion. That's being lazy. That's the OSAA being lazy.
That's all right. You already got your passes, so.
I tell them before I got my passes. It's lazy.
So
let's just get it out of the way.
Anything else that you want to just burn?
Yeah,
down?
what administration are you pissed at this moment, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm curious what's got this rant
Nobody
going. Would you like to hear if we could get maybe back on track about how OU is in denial, as Eddie said? Would you like to hear Ruffin McNeill's thoughts on the college football playoffs?
I would very much like to hear these.
You're going to get triggered. I'm just telling you beforehand.
Okay. I think I'm pre-triggered, but let's just go ahead and let's fire the gun.
All right, here you go.
Those guys, that group committee, they have to do the criteria they think. And as a coach or with your players, yes, we want to be a well-rounded football team. I've always talked about complementary football. We understand that. But the one thing that I will not neglect, I will not let our kids, as long as I'm responsible for them, neglect this, the ability to win a football game. Sometimes that gets lost a little bit to me. Yeah, you want it to be, I know the criteria they're asking, and we strive for that. But the main stride that I take personally is to make sure they understand, guys, this is what you did positively, here's some things to work on. But the biggest positive that you won the football game, you kept fighting. A lot of teams would have not fought. And a lot of teams were not that, but doing on the sideline, we were able to make some adjustments on the sideline. We were able to grasp what we had to do. 2-point play going up, we were able to do that. Those type things, to me, matter. Now, to the outside criteria, I can't control what the committee wants or what they look for. I just wake up and try to do the best job I possibly can and keep expecting a lot of myself, our staff, and our players.
Here's my thing. If
be a nice attitude to have if you're coaching at Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of
To
what
put
I
it
have
bluntly.
the issue with is I'm not saying it's a loser mentality, but it's
not a winner mentality.
It's not. I
Right.
mean,
not a mentality that the program was built on.
we all know what the goal is at Oklahoma. The goal at Oklahoma is to win a national championship. And anything less than that isn't good enough for anybody, any of the fans out there.
Anytime they use that phrase, a lot of those teams would have stopped fighting. Well, then they wouldn't have been contending for a championship to begin with.
I mean, that's perfect, Bob. That's like we're fighting. You're trying to play for a national championship. What, like, do they really need to be spurred on to fight? Like, where are they at? Eddie loves the soft thing, and I don't go to it all that often. But if that's really a problem, then it's one of your biggest rivals. You're playing terribly, and I mean, it's like arguing that an offense was good enough because you won 3-0 and they got a field goal late off a defensive turnover. The defense played lights out, didn't give up any points, and literally created the only points that did happen. That does not mean your offense was good enough. It just means they didn't lose the game. That's so crazy. Like, I get into this with fans all the time. Just because the offense is exemplary doesn't clear the defense of its sins. It doesn't change anything.
And that's why. Sorry, Josh.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's
go ahead.
That's why I said. That's why I said on Monday that "but we won" has become a commonplace crutch with this program. They've been hurt by the product of them winning games because of a poor defense. If they would have lost games in the last 3-4 years because of a shit defense, I think that they would have probably addressed it by now. But they hadn't. And they got away with it. It's like they've been enabled by their own success.
Right. And we talked about yesterday from the pistol firing thing about Chuba Hubbard and Bookie. One of the comments just said it flat out. The OU defense is that kid that's getting the A on a group project when they did nothing because they were with the smartest kid in the class.
I mean, if OU secondary could win national championships by talking shit, they would have already won. Yeah. But they can't cover anybody.
Well,
they can't tackle anybody.
At least they have kind of stopped doing that. It was nice that everyone...
I mean, Carey, you were standing down there after the third down before they gave up a touchdown in the last 2 minutes of the game in Bedlam, and they're out there dancing.
Wait, no. I mean, because Bookie instigated it with Chuba following the game on Instagram, and so Chuba came back and showed all 3 touchdowns that he scored against OU. They're not...
Chuba Hubbard's talking shit. He plays for a 4-6 team.
I know. It's like they may have stopped doing it on Twitter necessarily, but they're still doing it on Instagram and other places. They're still talking.
Well, all that stuff is stupid.
Well,
and none of those guys are good enough to be doing that.
Exactly.
Or carrying around a sledgehammer.
Guys,
which I still don't understand why it's a big deal.
The last 2 years, if Oklahoma doesn't have, I think we can all agree, 2 of the better quarterbacks in school history, they've got 6 more losses on their schedule. They're going to lose to Oklahoma State and Stillwater last year. And I realize, like, you take the best quarterback off of any of these teams, it's going to make an impact. I get it. I do. But it doesn't change that literally one player has carried you out of the fire. Well, I guess 2 players have carried you out of the fire over and over and over again. And it's become like they've all become blind to it. Like, it's like they can't see that we're winning in spite of our defense. It's got nothing to do with, we found a way to win. No, you didn't. You found a way to get the ball to the offense enough times that they could score enough points to make up for how deficient you are. Like, that's just so bad. Like, and I get that Lincoln Riley's not going to come into the press conference and burn Ruffin McNeill. Like, I get it. That's fine. But, like, acting like we're all stupid or that we can't see reality from the press box or from our televisions at home, like, whatever. It's there. It's obvious to anybody. And just saying, well, we won. Okay, great. I mean, Texas beat Tulsa earlier this year. That does not mean anything of value.
It's become a crutch. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Here's what I wonder. Like, is it this coaching staff that is like, they don't like that the standard, it makes me think, like, are they worried like that the standard now is college playoff or bust, and then we look back, like, are they trying to lower expectations? Because that's almost the only way that I have to take it, is like, look, now winning is important, I mean, Bob said that stuff too a lot. And it was when he was 8-4. I mean, this team is 9-1. And they're talking like they're 7-4. I don't get it. I've never seen this side of Lincoln Riley. And I expect it from Ruffin McNeill. I really do, because he's the motivational guy. But like when Mike Stoops was here, he'd be like, it's not good enough. Like, we need to do a better job. Nobody since Mike Stoops has left, no one has said it's not very good. Like, that part of it, have you noticed that? Like, that is just not in anybody's vocabulary except the players. The coaches won't say, yeah, we're not doing well. It's our fault.
Probably because the group of players that they're coaching are so soft that they can't take that type of mentality.
Well, obviously. That's why they got rid of Mike.
I think and to turn it around, the fans hated Mike for it. Because he would say it like it was, and they were like, we'll do something about it.
Yeah. He got burned at the stake for telling people what the truth was. And
now people are mad when it gets sugar-coated. And, I mean, I'm not coming down on anybody because clearly I'm triggered by it. I'd much rather the truth of a shitty truth than just a bullshit lie.
And in talking to the players yesterday, it doesn't sound like there's any self-regulation or leadership. They all kind of said, like, it's not my place to say that to another player. And then they all bring up the Fido, forget it, and drive on.
Enough with that.
It's become you hear it every single time, but none of it's like, here's this guy that says, this shit has got to stop now. You can't keep letting this happen. No one's doing that.
You're just not going to have a great defense if you have, or any unit, if you have no leadership. And they clearly have no leadership on that defense.
I don't know, just this whole thing about at least we're winning, it's not going to fly. If they struggle this week against Kansas defensively, I mean, I don't see how they're going to beat West Virginia at this rate. I just don't see going on the road, and everybody's like, well, they'll outscore them. At some point, this is going to catch up with you.
Should have already.
Exactly. I mean, they've allowed 46 and 47 points in back-to-back weeks.
And West Virginia has pretty much everything. Unless Will Greer gets hurt at Oklahoma State this weekend, they're screwed next week. David Sills, McCoy's a good running back. Their defense is decent.
Yeah, we'll see.
Not great.
Yeah.
I mean, they have not faced a team that's this good on offense, except for Texas Tech in the first half. And that was a disaster.
We'll see what the weather's like next Friday. I haven't heard anything yet.
I looked it up, raining and in the 40s.
I think that's good for Oklahoma, honestly.
It's 8 o'clock game, so it might be freezing rain.
Probably snow showers.
Because whatever else Oklahoma is, they're a better ground team than West Virginia is.
Yeah.
And if they could just nurse that clock and try... Like, if Oklahoma... To me, it might be the only game all season where OU is going to be better served to keep it under 40. Like, just keep Will Greer off the field. Like, we're going to run 5-6 minute drives. We're going to let our big offensive line just beat up on West Virginia. Because, I mean, as bad as OU is defensively, West Virginia is far from anything to write home about. They're not a great defense.
Yeah.
And they're fair. I mean, you look at the numbers, they're fairly comparable to Oklahoma. They're not good. And like I said, we'll see. I get, if it was in Norman, I'd have no doubt. In Morgantown at night, that's a lot to ask of a defense that clearly has fallen back off the rails.
Well, Kansas is coming up. I mean, if their defense is falling apart, we're going to find out this week.
A heads up, there will be no under the hood this week on Kansas. We're not doing that breakdown.
We won't. I mean, you're not going to learn anything. Kansas is bad.
Well, you
Just lost their
won't
coach.
learn anything that's not bad.
Broken arrows.
Yes, you're
Broken
right.
arrow would beat Kansas.
You can learn something, but it will all be bad.
Even in OU's down years, Kansas hasn't scored more than 7 points against them since 2013, I'm pretty sure.
If you have a real takeaway from Kansas, it's bad. I mean, I think Carey's dead on. Like, there's no way you learn something and you're like, well, that's a positive. It's going to be bad.
Honestly, they shouldn't even have to play this game.
They probably shouldn't.
What's
You
the
would think,
what's
do you
the
think
spread?
Kansas would accept
36.
it? Be like, we're going to put it 49-0 on the schedule and just call it good.
Yeah, definitely.
Kansas would be like, oh, okay, we can do that.
You should be able to buy your way out of this game.
They should like just have a walk-on offensive line, walk-on running backs.
How awesome would it be if like Bray Walker starts at left tackle, or like they just run out the young guys? Like T.J. Pledger gets the start. Like we're not risking anything.
I'm sure Lincoln is praying for a 50-point lead at halftime.
Yeah,
so
I
he doesn't
know
have to play anybody.
My tracker is going to get a lot of work Sunday morning. I guarantee that much.
Your freshman tracker.
Yes.
Yes, you will be busy, Bob.
I don't know what the F we're supposed to talk about then. Other than this lack of what we want to hear from the coaches. Because it's Kansas.
It's fair. Like it brings a good question. Like, what would you want to hear from the coaches? Like, what's the right?
We've got to get better
tone
on
to set?
defense, or we're not going to accomplish our ultimate goal.
Okay, just I got you. I wasn't sure if there was some way to.
It's almost like they don't want to give in to the fact that the reality is that this defense is hurting their chances of playing for a national championship. They still need some help anyway, but...
Can you admit this scheme just is never going to work? You got to throw it all out, just like Barry was saying. You just need an overhaul.
Well,
yeah, they need to fire every person involved and then start over.
I don't disagree.
You can't just be shitty at two things. Pick one and go forward with it. Like this going back and forth between one or the other. And I get that if you put three down and Ronnie Perkins stands up or has his hand down, that doesn't really make a damn bit of difference. That's fine. But like watching them, and obviously I come at this from a recruiting side. When I watch them try to recruit defensive ends,
it's bad.
I can't even imagine how you do it because like in one hand you want a guy that can fight a guard, and the next hand you want a guy that can beat a tackle's outside shoulder. Like that guy doesn't exist. He's not a real person. He's like if he does, he's one of every 5 years. And his name's Jadeveon Clowney. Like those guys aren't real. They're unicorns. And to imagine that you're going to recruit enough of them to build out a 2 or 3 deep is just insane. It doesn't work.
I mean, has it gotten to the point where we just think that they're terrible at evaluating?
I don't think it's that.
Identity. That's what I mean. Because
I agree. I think it's really hard. Like I said, because even at linebacker, like there's a constantly shifting idea. Like Curtis Bolton's a former high school defensive end,
right?
And then on the other hand, you've got Ryan Jones, who was a wide receiver safety. Like there's something there that I realize they play different positions, but it's the same general idea, and they don't match up at all. It doesn't make any sense. And how does that? Kenneth Murray is your Mike, and he's a former high school, like he played safety his senior year. Now, he was always going to be a linebacker. I get it. But there's just no continuity of thought. Like every guy, you never see a guy and you're like, that seems like an OU guy because you don't know what it is. Just
go through the lineup and just judge a guy based on whether you can put playmaker next to his name. Trey Norwood, no.
I would say nobody in the secondary right now.
Parnell Motley has made plays, and he's the only one.
I
think if you go that far, then you got to say Robert Barnes.
Right.
Yeah,
if you're including Motley.
Nobody back there. He picked off a ball against Army that I could have picked off.
Khalil Houghton was almost killed by a football at one point and still dropped it.
He also picked off a pass against Tech and almost picked up another one that a guy grabbed his face mask and dragged him down to the ground. And he's the only guy that has multiple picks in that secondary.
Well, and that's pathetic.
Well, I'm saying.
He's not a playmaker.
The argument was, can you put playmaker next to his name?
And
he's made plays.
You can't. He hasn't been a playmaker.
He's made plays.
He's given up more plays than he's made.
You're just being a dick. He's made plays.
He hasn't.
What's his? Go look up his career interceptions compared to everybody else.
Well, you're compared to everybody else. Nobody else can catch the damn ball.
I said this is an exercise where you're going to go through the secondary and say if you could put playmaker next to their name.
I wouldn't put it next to his.
You all. Fine.
You know how many... I mean, sorry, he's not a playmaker. Well, nobody on this defense.
That's the only one. That's the only one that you're going to find, though. That's my point.
I agree.
In the secondary,
yes.
You're going to put the label on. It might be him, but that doesn't make it him.
Well, that's my
point.
point.
He's the less of two evils.
I mean, Robert Barnes has had one interception because he's barely played that he returned for a touchdown. And it was a 2-point conversion.
Early in the year, was at Florida Atlantic?
Yes, very first game.
It didn't matter.
It was mop-up duty. Yes.
Trey Houghton will never be a playmaker. He'll probably never play again, but he never was a playmaker.
Because that's not a person.
Trey Houghton? Khalil Houghton. You guys got me just beside myself.
Trey Norwood, Khalil
Again, I say,
Houghton.
you all right?
Parnell Motley has 3 interceptions this year. He had 2 coming into this season. So he has 5
But he had one against Ohio State.
Yeah, he had the one against the Buckeyes and the pick 6 the very next week, and then he didn't do anything the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, OSU happened, and then his life was over for a
This is
while.
what I was saying this yesterday. It is so bad because I can remember every single turnover because there's just not many to choose from. I can remember all 8 this year.
I would amend my earlier statement and say that I think that Trey Brown can be a playmaker.
He just hasn't done it.
He hasn't done it.
There's a lot of people that can, but the longer you stay in the program...
No, but I don't think Trey Norwood is ever going to be a playmaker. He's not physical enough.
Okay.
He does it. He's not going to be a guy that forces any fumbles and strips a ball.
The longer you stay in the program, the worse you get. So,
well, under Kerry Cooks, that's been the case.
It feels like Trey Brown's starting to get a little worse in terms of not knowing where the ball is.
Yeah.
Compared to when he was first getting reps.
I asked Ruffin about it yesterday. I flat out, why are they so bad with ball skills? And he, basically said they practice it and everything, but
you turned into Edward R. Dosovich.
I don't understand. Well, because I'm trying to figure out why they're so bad.
Did he say forget it and drive on after they drop the ball?
I mean, I really.
See, now we're just getting mean.
It doesn't. They deserve to get mean things said about them.
I thought we did a pretty good job yesterday of asking good questions to Ruffin and the guys on defense.
Well, and you know what? One thing we said was in the post game was, boy, we'd like to see Bookie play corner all the time. And here is the thing that triggers you, that will trigger everyone more than anything else that was said yesterday by Ruffin.
So, speaking of the secondary, has there been any discussion of maybe moving Bookie back to corner?
No, Bookie's not a corner. No, Bookie's a safety.
In what world is Bookie a safety?
It was like George Stoya was the one that asked it. We just sat there like, what? What?
Did someone should have pulled up Rivals on their phone and showed him his high school profile where it said 5-star safety or cornerback?
You mean the play where he tipped the ball in the U.S. Army All-American game?
Yeah.
He wasn't playing cornerback?
Yeah.
Like, what world do you people live in up here? It just doesn't make sense to me, Josh.
I watched him for a week at the Army game last spring. I am qualified to speak to this. He was the best corner
in
at
the
the
nation.
Army All-American game.
In the nation.
Elite corners. And he was outstanding. I'm not saying he's going to fix all your problems. I'm not saying that at all. But to argue that that's not his natural position is just it sounds like you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
like it sounds like you've
my
never
intelligence
seen him
a little
play
bit.
when he wasn't in an Oklahoma jersey.
It's insulting. Yeah.
It is insulting.
No, it is.
It just blows my mind that they're so bad. Like, I didn't in a million years going into this season never thought that they were going to be worse than they were last year, and they've taken it to a new level of
They're
worse.
in disarray. I mean, they and not just in the secondary, but tell me a playmaker. Curtis Bolton, he forced a fumble. He has instincts as a defender. I would say he's a playmaker. He's the only guy in that defense.
Who?
Curtis Bolton, that I would put the playmaker tag on. And even he has some stupid moments, like not getting back before the ball was snapped.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, I mean, we asked he talked about that yesterday. It's just like he said that there was some stuff that you look back on tape and it's like, I can't believe I did that. It's like, no shit, man. Like, you guys practice every day. I don't understand how you continually make these mistakes. I'd say Ronnie Perkins he's young, but I would say he's a playmaker at times.
I'd fix that. You almost have to cast this argument as, can they be playmakers? Like,
because they don't have any right now.
Like, I would say Perkins, Kenneth Murray, Trey Brown. Those are the three guys that I'm like, I would buy stock in them as a playmaker. Everybody else, I don't know. And I mean, and some of them I do know. But Kenneth
Murray has gone from being a lost freshman to a guy that just does his job this year. He has not done anything more than that, in my opinion. And I'm telling you, I've talked to former players about this, and a lot of like they reach out to me because they're like, "Look at this," and they'll show me YouTube clips or something like that because they want me to see what they see. And I've had several guys tell me that Curtis Bolton is their only real defensive player. When they break down the tape, he's the only one that consistently is doing what he needs to be doing. And they don't feel the same way about Kenneth Murray.
Yeah. I mean, it's mind-blowing that the University of Oklahoma.
And I'm not shitting on Kenneth Murray.
No,
it just he's not a standout yet.
And I mean, I guess that brings the argument of, is it just poor coaching? Or is it, I mean, who is one guy that you could say in the last 5 years that's been developed from the day that they got in until the day they left? I mean, Obo, maybe.
Yeah.
Obo was a guy that, had to mature a lot individually before he could reach that success. Yeah. But, I mean, I guess you could say that he's a guy that really, truly came into the university, worked his ass off from day one, and got to where he needs to be. And he's still, I mean, really hasn't seen his career just blow up by any means. I mean, I know he's been hurt, and he just got activated by the Rams, but...
I thought Devontae Bond got better. It wasn't as noticeable, but...
Junior college,
he's had a pretty nice career.
Yeah, and Eric Stryker, obviously, is a guy that got better and better. And they found a role for him.
It took time, though, for him to find a role in the defense.
But that's the thing. It's like Mike could at least identify guys and build a role for them. And they were mostly edge rushers. And that's why he was so distraught when he didn't have Jalen Redmond.
Yeah.
Because I think he thought he could eventually build a role for him in the defense where he could be a difference maker.
If Caden Stearns was at Oklahoma this year and he was starting at safety, would he be having as much success right now as he's having in Austin? I think it's a fair question, and I think it's a resounding no.
Why would you trust that they would develop anybody?
Right.
The way things have gone.
It's harsh to say, but based on 3 to 4 years of the last 3 to 4 years, there's nothing that tells me differently.
Eddie, he might be starting at corner though. So it's just a totally different comparison. You might just move him away from his natural position.
That's true.
Yeah, because
that's what they do up here.
Bookie is a safety.
Like, is that just them being hard-headed? Like, I honestly couldn't tell if he was with George. Like, I thought maybe he was joking, and then he wasn't joking, and the interview session was over, and we were just left standing there.
You guys were there, so you can say it better than me, but just listening to it, it sounds like a guy who never saw him play anything other than safety at Oklahoma. He's never seen any tape. He has no idea of the background.
That's a good point.
Nothing.
I don't know why he would have.
Exactly. I mean, and I don't know that I can condemn Ruffin for that because it has nothing to do with him. I think people assume that everybody just, like Ruffin McNeill knows this. I can tell you flat out, guys, there are, But if Bill Biedenbow is not really aware of what's happening in linebacker recruiting, or Calvin Thibodeau is not really tuned into what's happening at running back.
But the problem is he's the defensive coordinator.
No. Now it looks bad.
But when you become the defensive coordinator, you think you would dig into some background a little bit.
Well, especially when you have problems everywhere, especially in the secondary. Like, what could we do to fix this?
But the fact that, Carey, that also tells you, they've never even discussed that. It's never come up in a meeting. Carey Cooks has never said, well, Bookie was a hell of a cornerback in high school. Maybe we should give him a look there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's never even been mentioned. That's what I get from that.
As of yesterday, they said that Caleb Kelly, obviously came to them to move positions during the summer. You don't think Bookie's never said, maybe I should play corner?
Maybe he has to tweet it. Or Instagram
well, shit,
it.
If he needs to, I'll write the tweet for him. He can just press send.
Just walk up to him and say, hey, Bookie, do you want to play corner? Here. Give me your phone.
I mean, they moved Caleb Kelly back to the Sam on Monday of last week.
And that triggered a lot of people because Kelly let us know.
It triggered me.
Kelly let us know that him and Kenneth Murray were named the Defensive Players of the Week for Bedlam.
There were no Players of the Week for Bedlam.
Yeah, they shouldn't have named it. I mean, that is soft right there. Lincoln Riley should have came in and said, there are no Defensive Players of the Week because we suck. And to name 2 of them? They found 2 of them?
I mean, I would turn Bagman in if they paid players last week. Nobody deserved to be paid.
Somebody said that to me about Tramonda Moore.
Oh, boy.
They said, well, I hope the bagman cuts him off. And I said, if OU was paying for that kid, they need to have their heads examined.
They need to have their bank accounts eliminated.
By the way, just on that note, like, I can tell you, I've had discussions with people back in the summer, like when he was coming in, and I was like, are you worried about seeing the Last Chance U thing? Like he might embarrass himself, and the kind of the take I got was, look, we're taking a flyer on this kid. We don't know if it's going to work out or not.
Oh, I mean, by the way that Bill Beatembo talked about him,
that was
like
bad.
the second week of practice
in August.
He basically said he won't help us.
He was done, but he was done in August. He was done before he started.
Yeah. I mean, and Josh, you know that
the writing was on the wall.
The chance of that working out, just knowing, and Bob, knowing how honest like a guy Rashawn Woods can be, like you knew that kid was trouble. Like. And I always got the impression like even Rashawn had given up.
I don't even
on
know if he's trouble as much as he's just fucking lazy.
Or just
living in his own world. And I hate saying that about a 19-year-old kid, but he needs some type of reality check.
It seemed like he fought so hard to turn everything around, but if he had one setback, boom, it just all blew up again.
All right, Eddie, get out your SeatGeek app. I want to check some things out.
Surprised that he didn't succeed in this soft program.
While you guys do that, Bob, do you think that Tramonda, like, how much do you think his momentum was crushed when he didn't make it in its semester like he wanted to?
Yeah.
Like, I think there was something there because I'm with you. Like, it all felt like, wow, maybe Tramonda really has turned a corner here.
You were talking to him. It was a different person you were talking to compared to high school.
Yep.
No, you mean he wasn't acting like he was going to qualify and not?
It felt like he almost reverted back to that guy again.
Yep. He was taking ownership for what he messed up at John Marshall and why this time it was going to be different. He wasn't like making excuses for why he didn't do it. He said it was all on him. It felt refreshing. And then once he didn't qualify for mid-year, it was back to, all right, same old, same old.
Yep.
Thunder are welcoming in the Knicks tonight.
I'd recommend you don't go to that game. Unless you're going to boo Enes Kanter.
Why would you boo Enes Kanter? And it's not Enes, it's Enes.
He's a bitch.
He's not a bitch.
He's not part of the team.
He's wanted for a beheading or something.
I know. I said on the radio this morning we should call the Turkish consulate. Oh my God. Have him waiting at the door.
He was one of my favorite Thunder players.
He's not on the team. He needs to get over it.
But he's still a stash brother.
I've never seen someone still feel like they're part of the team when they haven't been.
That is kind of weird.
That's what's weird.
That is a little weird. He's a man without a country, though.
I love that Eddie is going to call the consulate like they can't look up the NBA schedule for the Knickerbockers. Like, I think the Knicks might be in Oklahoma City tonight.
No, but like really know that they can come get him.
I'll tell you where and when he walks past me. Anyway, I bring up the Knicks being at the Thunder because I looked on my SeatGeek app. $7. I can go sit in Loud City tonight. through the SeatGeek app. And you can get lower bowl if you want to. I'm just kind of going through here. Like Eddie seats, I would call lower bowl seats.
I don't sit in loud sitting.
He knows people. You can get, if you really wanted, if you got some jack, which I know some of our listeners do, $110 for lower bowl seating. Some pretty good. And it shows you what deals are good. This one, $110, amazing. God, I got the hiccups. Amazing deal. It's an 8.9 rating. These hiccups are going to kill me. So anyway, go to SeatGeek. Go download the app or go to SeatGeek.com. They've got they search multiple ticket sites. They grade every ticket, like I was telling you, based on value. They give you immediate identification of the best seats that can fit your budget. You can put in there how much you want to spend, all that stuff. The app is fantastic because you can just look up at all the Thunder games. Like it's got Knicks Thunder, but when you hit on it, it shows you November 14th, home game against the Knicks, 23rd, Hornets, 24th, Nuggets, who are on a 5-game losing streak, which is awesome. So you can get future games, all that stuff. If you got people coming in for the holidays, you can get tickets and have them in your hand. Actually have them on your phone and just have them swipe it. So go to SeatGeek, put in the promo code SCOOP today, and you can get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. So go do it. Support the site. They support us, and support SeatGeek. So, guys, had a chance this week to go down to, it was Louisville, but for some reason it's called Carrollton Hebron now. And I always ask people about it. They're like, it's so stupid. We're in the Louisville School District. We're served by Louisville. But like when Lewis Baker was there, it was Louisville Hebron. Anyway, this is old news. Had a chance to talk to Trejan Bridges and his dad after his All-American ceremony. And we bring you that interview now. All right, well, this is our first podcast interview on location as we're at Hebron High School here. As we've just gotten done watching the All-American ceremony for Trejan Bridges. I'm joined by Trejan and his father, Jack. And, guys, very relaxed environment to see you in. Trejan, you're not competing against, the best players in the country in Atlanta, and you're not out there fighting the refs in a football game like I saw in the rain last time. And Jack's even you're a lot more relaxed in this environment too. But I gotta say though, no smile from Trejan today in any of the pictures. Not disappointing, just as expected. But it's like the bigger the event, the less of a smile we get from you.
Right.
So Trejan, what was tonight like? I mean, going through all this, having your team there with you. They were pretty raucous. I mean, it was a pretty good crowd tonight.
I mean, just coming straight out of practice at 6:30. So, it was freezing cold outside. Had to rush.
It's terrible out there.
Had to rush home, get dressed real quick, and then rush back up here. But then I wasn't too surprised whenever I seen everybody came out and supported me or whatever. Great experience though with everyone here, and I can't thank anyone but God.
What's it feel like? You've been selected for this, but now you're wearing that jersey. You're going to go out there compete. You were MVP of the Rivals camp in Atlanta. Now you get another chance to go out and shine. Is it set in, make it a little bit more real now that you're sitting there wearing a jersey?
Yeah, I think it's more, surreal that I'm probably going to be leaving here in about a couple months, 1 or 2 months, and after I play this game, will be my last high school or event, so can't wait to get there and get stuff done.
Well, Jack, I mean, this has been a journey for you too. I mean, from a guy, I was talking to Kenny over there. He was talking about when Nick Saban told you as a freshman you were going to be too tall to be a running back, and you were all disappointed you had to move positions and all that stuff. I mean, this has been an experience for you as a parent, hasn't it been?
Yeah, it's been an experience, but needless to say, it's been a blessing as well. But I'm just so proud of him right now and the way he handled himself and the way he's been, wanting to represent, the Hebron High School and obviously looking forward to getting up to Norman as quickly as possible. But it's been
not like
ride.
You guys haven't been there enough.
Yeah,
right?
I know, right? Yeah, we've been there quite a bit, of course, and of course just taking an official visit this past weekend, just. Getting closer and closer to being surreal.
What was it like watching your son play this final high school season? I mean, I know we were at the Flower Mound game. I was talking to you, and I know, kind of getting to talk to parents during games, especially guys that are highly rated. It gets very emotional because you feel, I think most parents, and I don't know if I told you this before, I think most parents feel like when your son is a 5-star, everybody's targeting him. The refs maybe don't give him the benefit of the doubt, and I think it gets frustrating for parents sometimes.
Yeah, it does, but, I know Trejan has been brought up. He's been grounded to take, adversity and stuff like that when those things comes his way. And you're right, with him being the 5-star athlete that he's been prone to be, they do target him. A lot of guys like to use him as a measuring stick as far as, his opponents, the DBs and things like that. They go into the game, saying, if I stop Trejan, then, I must, they kind of measure themselves.
Make a name for themselves off of
So, they come, so they come at him pretty hard, but, he stands up for himself, and it's been a blessing to watch him play.
Let me ask you, Trejan, did you learn a lot about maybe being even more in the spotlight this year? Like your dad says, people coming after you in games, that you kind of got that target on your back after you got the 5-star and MVP of the Rivals camp. I mean, did you learn something about yourself and kind of how to be a different type of player on the field with everything coming at you?
I mean, of course, getting a 5-star and getting all the offers and being an Oklahoma commit, a lot comes with it. And one's, I preach on it every day, which is people are going to hate you. I mean, it is what it is, but, I mean, whenever you're doing something right, if, people are commenting on you, giving you hell or something like that. So whenever people are in your DMs talking mad stuff, saying stuff about your family members, what it is, you got student sections, chanting overrated and stuff like that. But I think the most thing that it has taught me is that, just to be true to yourself and find who you really are, and never stay, never just I don't even know what to say, just believe in yourself, and whenever you make a mistake or something like that, just wipe it off, and I think that's what I've taken from high school and getting my 5-star and stuff like that, is to just wipe it off and go on to the next play.
I mean, that's cool. I think people kind of don't realize sometimes that just because you are one of the best, or considered one of the best, high school players, that it's all easy for you guys.
Right.
But it's a roller coaster ride.
Of course, as well as I'd also have to say, just to find your circle. There are a lot of with the fame and all of this, and all the medias and all that. Come to know a lot of fake friends and stuff like that. So I definitely have to say I found my circle of my great friends and my family members, that I could trust, and I'm glad they believe in me.
Jack, I mean, you had an older son that played sports. Was it a different type of learning experience for you as a father going through this past couple of years?
Yeah. It definitely was a different type of learning experience. Jalen, my oldest son, Trajan's oldest brother, he was a basketball player. But Jalen was as talented as he was. He wasn't in the position to be, a Division I, type of guy like Trejan is. So it's been just a totally different ride with Trey as it was, with Jalen, my oldest son. Mainly, again, because it's two different sports. You're talking about basketball, you're talking about football. But then, you're talking about, going to a smaller school for basketball, into, being able to play at, a number one, university like the University of Oklahoma for Trejan. So it's been definitely different for sure.
Well, I mean, the ups and downs have been there, but it's got to be good when you have Trejan a weekend, like you have, to get away to Norman to see what it's going to be like, your new home, getting to spend time with your teammates, talk to Lincoln Riley, just getting to know that there's another level there. That's got to be, one of the most satisfying parts about going through this last year.
Oh yeah, I've of course got a good whiff of it this past weekend on my official visit to Oklahoma. It just felt so, I just felt so comfortable just being there, and I was honestly ready to say goodbye to my parents.
No.
But
what, Jack's like, what?
Unfortunately,
Did he tell you this?
Unfortunately, I got a couple more weeks here, and I just want to thank Lincoln Riley and all them for comforting me and stuff like that.
Now, Jack, you tell me, as a parent, I mean, it's close by. I mean, heck, I got down here in 2.5 hours almost today.
All right.
But just that experience, Oklahoma, being up there so much, what's the thing that stuck out to you the most?
I think the thing that stuck out to me the most, and you guys probably hear it a lot, is just just the way they treat you is just genuine. It's just family. I honestly believe that. And every time we're up there, we just get a even better vibe as far as, this is truly, home. And it's like we try to tell Trejan all the time, you're not just picking this university and this college for the next 4 years. You're actually picking, this is like one of those things where this is for the next 45, 50 years. This is type of, relationship that you're building with your future. So it's definitely a feeling of just being at home whenever we go up there.
I don't think anybody saw, Kyler Murray coming in and maybe being even better than Baker Mayfield. But now you look at it, Trejan, you're going to be part of the next wave. I know you got to see Spencer Rattler. Was it kind of good getting to see him kind of after everything he's been going through this season?
Oh, yeah. Me and Spence talk daily. Of course, whenever I heard about the situation that happened to him, I had to do nothing but, comfort him. Things happen for a reason. And, if I'm going to be his teammate, I'm going to be his brother throughout the next 4, maybe 3 years, why not start it early? And I was able to comfort him through that. But, it was a great time seeing Spence this week. We had great fun. We went out, had fun with all the guys, and a great weekend.
Just in terms of, that was a very close game, 48-47. You're around those offensive players, and they are the best offense in the country right now, statistically anyway. What is it you kind of learn from being around those guys? Is there some key that you've learned that makes them so good?
Honestly, I really do believe that it's the brotherhood that they have. They have a bond that, you have multiple guys from different places, different backgrounds, different situations. So, once they all got there, I think they, found who they clicked with the most. Of course, they click with everybody on the team. So, I definitely have to say the brotherhood that they have, I don't think that can be broken. So, going against other teams, fighting with your brothers on the field is, you can't beat that.
What do you think about this rebuilding this offense? I mean, I don't know if it's going to have to be rebuilt, but you're going to have a lot of new pieces in there. Right. What do you think about you guys as a class? You've been talked about for so long, is going in there and maintaining this level of play?
It's big shoes to fill, but it's nothing that I don't think we can handle. We got 3 5-stars coming in as a receiver. We got a 5-star quarterback, so it's nothing that we're not used to. Expectations, I'm used to, getting through whatever has to be done. I don't know, Lincoln, he's dependent on us. Whole OU football staff, they're looking forward to, bringing us in and doing stuff that has been done before, like winning national championships. So, that'll be fun, and it's going to be a great ride.
How do recruits react to what's going on with the defense right now?
I think, again, if you really have the heart for OU, every team that you are on, they have some sort of difficulty or trouble that they have or going through right now. So, again, even when I'm chilling with all the guys over the weekend, Book, all of them, and, we're just talking about the game or something that, is trouble that happened in the game. They never talk negative about each other, nothing like that. So, of course, I don't think too much of it. And things are going to change, things are going to get fixed. So, I can't really say too much on it.
Did Lincoln have any discussions with you about, hey, we're going to get this thing fixed. We're going to be great on both sides of the ball by the time you're done here. Do any of those discussions go on?
Not too much on the defensive side. Offensively, he talks nonstop about how he's looking forward to us scoring touchdowns and stuff like that. But on the defensive side, he just comments on who he has bringing in 2019 class and some transfers that may come in. So, like I said, things are going to change, and I'm pretty sure they're going to get this fixed up.
Jack, let me ask you. You've seen a lot of different types of receivers at Oklahoma over the years. You had Sterling Shepard. Mm-hmm. Now you got CeeDee Lamb and Marquise Brown. Where do you think Trejan fits in? What do you think is going to be his calling card as a receiver in that offense?
Trejan is going to, again, his book is still being written, and there's still so many more pages to fill with him and his.
You're right.
Career.
I mean, you're right. And now, I was at a game. You're a Wildcat quarterback. You
Right.
reverse passes. You try to throw passes. I mean, you're intercepting passes. I mean, he's still really growing as a player too, isn't he, Jack?
He is, and like I say, it's so many more pages still to be filled in Trajan's journey, but definitely, I think he's gonna. He's a utility guy. He's an athlete. They'll probably start him out, on the outsides, but I think before it's all said and done, he'll be playing all of them inside, outside, because
which is a lot of what Sterling Shepard did. He didn't have the size that you had, but that's kind of the player he was.
Yeah, and I think that's what Lincoln them believe that he can bring to the table as well. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It should be fun.
Man, I appreciate you guys taking some time out. You got a party going on. I hate keeping you from it as much as I have, but I know everybody loved listening, hearing from you guys. And congratulations on the honor, All-American. We'll be down there in San Antonio, obviously, checking it out as well. And relaying info back from Orlando on your other classmates. It'll be in that All-American game. So it's going to be a lot of fun for Sooner fans coming up here in January. So appreciate you guys, and congratulations.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, so there is Trejan Bridges, his father Jack Bridges, and I don't know, maybe one thing that stood out to me about that was him talking about Lincoln Riley talking about defensive transfers possibly coming in. They could probably use 1 or 2 or 3 or 11.
Yeah, 11 might be better served.
I'm sure the coaching staff's really going to appreciate the fact that we threw a recruiting interview in the middle of us shitting all over their defense for 45 minutes beforehand.
I mean, again, if 4 people talking about their opinions on a embarrassing defense affects what's happening a couple miles north of here, then it could be the softest program in the country, and it's maybe Riley should be coach of the year for even getting this group to 9-1.
Well, they're crazy people if they don't already know everything we've said.
That's
it's
true
not
too.
like we haven't broken incredible ground here.
That's true too. Sorry, we're not writing rap music about OU.
Who's doing that?
Wait, what?
There's people out there.
What?
Oh no!
You gotta show me this.
Is it better than the OU rap with Bob Stoops nodding his head?
No, it's fucking terrible.
Oh.
Is it anyone we know?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Just log on to YouTube.
Oh no!
Is it a recruit chaser, like a meme guy?
I mean, I've given him too much time already.
He said too much. Move on.
I would take the YouTube hint.
I would play it if I could find it.
No. I'll walk out of here.
Any other thoughts on the Trejan interview that was just, I don't know, I'll just say I'm sure Big Crimson TX is happy.
No, I have no thoughts.
You can tell he loves OU, but
he does.
He doesn't have that personality in his words that excite people. That's fine.
I believe Bob just crapped all over my interview, but that's fine.
No, I'm saying like Trejan doesn't bring out
I'm just kidding.
that personality in himself. I'm sure he does around other kids.
But
when he's on record,
his team. The one thing about being at that deal is like you could tell his team loves him. Like they really love him. Of course,
God, they should. We've all seen him.
He's their best. He's their best player, and they've got a couple of other good players on their team that might play in college. But yeah, he's by far carries that team.
Yeah, they've got a young back I like, but other than that, I'm like, there's not a lot there.
They got the safety linebacker guy.
Yeah, on defense. Yeah, Darius Snow's a good player.
But yeah, I mean, every time they run a play and the ball isn't end up in his hands, you're just kind of like, what are you doing? So, no, it was good talking to them. I'm glad they took the time out because it was in the middle of their kind of celebration, so we do appreciate that. All right, we've got Kansas coming up, which is not exciting. We've already established that, but we do have to do this.
Get to the fridge. Grab yourself a Native Amber, an F5 IPA, or any of the great Coop Ale Works beers, because it's time to make a toast to this week's player to watch.
All right, it is time for your Coop Ale Works player to watch. Yeah, Coop Ale Works out of Oklahoma City, been doing it for 9 years. 7 year-round beers, including the Native Amber, the F5 IPA, which is Eddie's favorite, and I'm a big Horny Toad Blonde guy. Their Oktoberfest, if you can still grab that, it's definitely worth your time. And all kinds of cool stuff. Go to CoopAleWorks.com, check it out, and make sure you pick some up for your next tailgate or your next game night, especially with the NBA coming up. Need to stock up those fridges. Okay, so player to watch. My God, is there anybody we need to even name on offense? I mean, it's all about the defense, isn't it? Although, do we have any hope that anyone's going to be able to put together a performance that you're going to be like, I'm really interested to see him play?
That's actually why I'm going offense. Austin Kendall. This is his game.
That's not a bad pick.
This is his game. He's looked a little shaky since he's been in mop-up duty, so this would be a good.
I mean, it's not his fault that Michael Jones can't catch the football.
Yeah. This would be
Charleston Rambo.
A nice half for him to show that he's not a deer in headlights when he's out. I'm just thinking like the end against Texas and stuff of that nature.
How much do you think he gets a lot of run over Tanner Mordecai, or do you think Mordecai gets some snaps too?
I think Mordecai plays the middle of the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Because he's played two games. He's not going to play more than 4, and he probably won't see the field again after.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So why not?
Unless something crazy happens down the road, then this should be it for him.
I'm going to go with Delarian Turner-Yell.
That's a good one.
Like that.
Just because we've seen him in flashes here and there. I'm not saying, he should be starting or anything like that. I just think it'll be nice if we can get to see a lot more of him. And, if it's a blowout and he gets in a lot, it's going to be more watching him probably in run responsibilities, because I doubt KU they'll probably be running it, trying to get, the game over. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of putting my binoculars on him and seeing what he looks like.
Josh, you want to go?
Yeah. I'm going to pick a player, but I want to preface it with saying I just really want to pick the entire freshman class.
Yeah. I thought the same thing.
I just want to watch those guys like Ron Tatum and Benito and like some of those guys that we haven't seen a lot of, like dying to see that stuff. But I'm going to stick, kind of with the thought of defense. I kind of want to watch Jordan Parker. I feel like the last 2 weeks, he's actually been pretty solid for OU. Everybody remembers the tackle against Tech that he didn't make, and that's fine. I get it. But he actually made a couple plays in that Oklahoma State game where I was like, wow, he had one, I can't remember who he was covering. It might even have been Tylan Wallace, where they connected on a slant, but he immediately makes the tackle. It's like a 4-yard gain on like a 3rd and 8 for Oklahoma State, and they end up having to punt. And it's sad that this is where we are, but that play stood out. You're like, wow, he's a safety. He made a tackle in space. Like, he did everything he was supposed to do right there. It wasn't exemplary, but it was doing your job, which is now a positive for any Oklahoma defensive player. So I'm going with Jordan Parker, and in a game like this, you can kind of really sit and watch him, because it's not like you're gonna miss something with Kansas's explosive offense.
I'll say this about Jordan Parker too. He started out the season with a pretty big knee brace. I mean, he is, and to me, it seems like he's lost a little weight, gotten a little leaner this year. But I think he's really just getting healthy, because I don't think he was healthy at all to start the season, coming back from that knee injury. So yeah, that's a good pick.
I think he also had a lot of things going on off the field, just as far as, didn't he have a kid over the summer?
I think that's right. Yeah,
settling into his own life, the reality of a real life.
Is the kid here, out in California?
I have no idea. So I'll go with Caleb Kelly.
Yeah, sure.
And that's just a give up. I can't think of anybody else. I'm not too excited for this game on Saturday.
We know.
It's a 6:30 too. We're gonna be doing that post game pod like at 2 in the morning.
Jesus. Yeah, don't remind. It's gonna be 2 straight weekends of hell.
I'm definitely gonna stay up for the Kansas post game pod, guys. So don't you worry. I'm there for you.
I don't believe you at all.
You shouldn't. You absolutely should not.
I wouldn't even watch the game if I were you.
Eddie's not going to watch it. He's
Eddie's just going to have like
he's gonna have his back turned. Yeah,
leave it.
yeah. Just live stream it. You probably won't even get any views.
If you kids want to be on Sights and Sounds, you better run at this camera.
Speaking of which, it's not a big recruiting weekend either. Can't confirm one official visitor, junior college offensive lineman Myron Cunningham. Josh, you think he projects more at tackle?
Oh, yeah. I think that's definitely – with Finley Felix, I can see, kind of get – almost like Tramonda, which your, prognosis was for him. Like, we'll see where he ends up. But with Cunningham, he's a longer guy. I think he's definitely a tackle. Very athletic. There's a lot of stuff to work with him that you really like. It's weird because back before I guess it was actually right around the time Finley Felix committed, Myron Cunningham had told me he was coming in this week, and I'd kind of forgotten about it. But at the same time, we've told everybody, like, anybody that thought that Finley Felix closed the door on a junior college offensive tackle, forget that. And now with Tramonda Moore going, I don't know if Oklahoma saw the writing on the wall or if it's not connected at all. Like, what I'm interested to see, does Tramonda Moore create another offensive line offer, or is, Bill Bedenbaugh going to keep that in his hat for next year? I don't know how that's going to work out yet, but I still see this ending up as probably a 6 offensive lineman class, with Oklahoma hoping to add one more JC guy to Finley Felix.
It's going to be so weird watching this offensive line develop next year.
Yeah.
Because, I think you're going to see a lot of ups and downs. I don't know that you'll ever see a consistent lineup in the first half of the season. Guys will be getting yanked and, for other guys. And there's going to be a lot. That's going to be Bill Bedenbaugh's going to earn his money next year because he makes a lot of it.
It's crazy to me that it feels more and more than ever that if Oklahoma has 2 returning starters back, one of them is going to be Bobby Evans.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's good for him is that at least he has his center, which is always the most difficult thing to find.
And he's got a really, really good one. Creed Humphrey was going back and watching that Oklahoma State game. He's outstanding.
Josh, you think EJ is
quarterback's not coming back?
Projected more at center.
Who's not coming back?
The quarterback.
Oh,
you're talking about Bedenbaugh? As in he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might not be back.
What are you doing over there? You're not paying attention.
No, I'm not.
You reading the board?
No.
Dynamite drop in, Monty. EJ. Yeah, I do, Bob. I think, everybody looks at
They don't have one. They don't have one right now.
I don't rule out that guards could be a possibility, but I really think there's a very good chance they see him primarily as a center. Being a really sharp kid like EJ is, like there's a lot of things that he fits into kind of what Bill seems to value at that position. And I don't think there's any question. Like that's probably where he gets his start.
I would, if I'm playing for Bill, hint EJ, learn that center position, because all those guys that learn it seem to have a head up on everybody else at the guard position.
It's true.
Like he likes playing guards that can also play center, that know what the center is doing or supposed to be doing.
Carey, you go back farther than I do. Watching Creed, and I know it's special for you. I mean, there's an emotional attachment, I understand.
Stop it.
But just when's the last time OU had a center that felt like that dude's a long-time NFL guy if it all goes right?
I mean, Vince Carter, I think, is still the best center that OU's had in the Bob Stoops era.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, after that, it was always kind of like a mishmash of different guys. I mean, John Cooper was a smaller guy. He was very good, highly recruited, shattered his ankle. It took a while to come back. They moved guys around. Like, I think Chris Bush was a guy that they moved around a little bit, and they were always trying to find guys. But yeah, just as a prototypical guy that is built for that position, is big, like everybody else on the line, they rarely have ever had a guy like this. You'd have to go back to the Switzer days.
Is your dad a tall guy, Carey?
Shut up.
Carey, literally watching the game the other day, and they did some segment on him. Not a segment, but like they're talking about him. They've got his little player card at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And I was like, Tiffany, this is the guy that the fans give Carey all this shit about looking like him. And she looks at the wrong guy, and she goes, he doesn't look like – I think she was looking at Powers. She was like, he doesn't look like him at all. And I was like, no, look at the bottom of the screen, the picture. She's like, oh, my God, he does.
Honestly, don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, I look at myself in the mirror every day, I guess. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, you have any clue where you're going this weekend?
Yeah, tomorrow, Thursday night, I'm going to go up to Aledo and see Jason McClellan. Haven't had a chance to see him yet this year. They're playing a rare Texas Thursday night high school football game in the playoffs. So I was like, well, that's just too good for me to pass up. On Friday, literally, that's my job after the podcast. I've got to sit down and figure out where I'm going to go. I have no idea yet. I'm still – usually I've already got it all mapped out as far as, okay, I like this, and this week, and then as teams get eliminated, I kind of cross them off my list. But this week just hasn't worked out that way, so I've got to sit down and kind of map it all out and then see where I'm going to be. Friday, like I said, it's open-ended. But Thursday, at least I get to see Jace, kind of get a feel for him. It'd be nice if I could just go across town and see Seth McGowan, but we'll kind of see how that works.
We're going to go get our second look at Marcus Major. He did miss last week's game, but Millwood coaching staff let me know Sunday. Marcus is ready to roll for Friday night. Millwood, Vian, feels like a quarterfinal game here in the round of 16. It's considered maybe the best second-round matchup in the playoffs. So we'll go take another look at Major. Not used a lot during the regular season, and that was on purpose, according to his father. They want to keep Marion Houston and Marcus Major as fresh as possible for this playoff run. So maybe we'll see one of those 200-yard, 4-touchdown type nights from Marcus on Friday.
A lot more positive reviews coming in for Eddie. Horns Up for Peace is making its way into the iTunes reviews as well. Cosmo Kramer says, best post-game podcast around. This podcast is what I look forward to most when making the commute to work on Monday. Everyone on the crew brings their different perspective, which makes it even more enjoyable. What makes it even better is I know that even if Oklahoma loses, I know that the podcast will be entertaining. Thanks for all the hard work. Okay, cool. Hook 'em. Horns up for peace.
Okay, cool.
By the way, we didn't even mention the Tom Herman thing at all. I mean, what a disaster. Your boy Zach Smith, Josh. Gotta love him.
He should just go ahead and do it.
Would kill Tom Herman or himself?
Himself. I'm on record saying he'll commit suicide before
murder
2020.
Suicide?
If he gets in Austin, I'd be worried if I was Tom Herman.
I'd be worried for Zach Smith if Tom Herman's wife got around him.
I think she's all talk.
All right. The ever cheerful Eddie. Appreciate it. Bob, thank you.
Can we close out with signing day?
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
All right, so...
And now we act like we care about basketball.
I do care. You'll be with me Sunday for the home opener, but
maybe.
By the way, you mentioned this. Eddie is in a mood today. You mentioned this, and it is really amazing to watch. And it shouldn't be a surprise because even I've seen him around when he's on unofficial visits and stuff. But Davian Harmon might be he might be more committed than any single New Wave 19 or 20 deep kid. I mean, like we talk about Trejan Bridges, how much he's bought into OU. I think Davian Harmon might have bought in even more.
And that's because they're like best of friends.
Yeah,
those two, Stogner and Weiss, they've known each other for for years. And so they've just all kind of cultivated that personality of, we all want to go here together and do special things. But yeah, with Harmon being committed last November and sticking through when OU went through that terrible stretch, it was just huge. And now they got the other pieces to go around them. They're signing 5 guys today. I think 3 are in the books. They're still waiting for the official signature of a couple others. But Victor Iwakor from Sulphur Springs, Texas, and then Jalen Hill from Vegas. I mean, 3 guys in the Rivals 150. They're ranked the 10th class right now. I don't think they'll be number 10 when the spring class
Do you
comes
really want
out.
a top 10 recruiting class in basketball these days?
And for OU, they just have never needed to have 4 or 5 guys. To have 5 guys in the class is something you just won't see too often. But Lon Kruger and staff did a great job of getting it all together, and we'll get to talk to him here in a couple hours, and I'll have that story up either later this evening or first thing Thursday.
And I think they'll probably avoid federal investigation with this class, like just about every other class that's being signed in the top 10.
I mean, that's just one thing. You see Carlin Hartman, Chris Crutchfield sometimes throw a little jab out there because they know working under Lon Kruger, it's an absolute as clean program as you can possibly get.
Just early thoughts on what you've seen of the Sooners so far?
They're 2-0.
Christian James obviously scoring a lot of points.
Christian James, 29, 24. And you got Brady Manick, first 2 double-doubles of his career. You like what you see from Jamal Bienemy as a true freshman. Yeah, I mean, going on the road, it's not like monumental games that they won Friday and Monday, but going on the road and winning back-to-back games is a nice way to start. And like I said, the home opener is Sunday. And if you go to the OU Kansas football game, you can bring that ticket in to Lloyd Noble Sunday and be in as well.
Are you getting kickbacks for that?
It's always sad to see how bad those crowds are.
Yeah, it's college basketball on a Sunday.
College basketball on a Sunday, it's not a good
Let's
recipe.
be honest. Teams don't even want to be there.
Before football ends, yeah. So, Eddie, you got a baseball signing day report?
No.
I didn't think so. All right. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Josh. Eddie, it's been real. Thanks for listening to the Choctaw Casino's Unofficial 40 podcast, and we'll see you guys back here next week on SoonersScoop.com podcast.